Hello! This video is going to be all about singing with consistency because I get asked this all the time. And when I dig into what that actually means, more often than not, it's about singers wanting to blend from their chest voice seamlessly all the way up into their head voice, keeping the same tone quality, keeping the same fullness and color. Or doing the exact same thing, but keeping the power in it. So not going quite so high, going to the top of their chest dominant or belt range, but keeping the fullness, keeping the power and projection in that as they go up higher. So if that's you, that's what this video is about. So I think the biggest misunderstanding around this is we think it should all feel consistent in order to sound consistent. And it doesn't kind of work like that. So I touched on this in my last video about breath support, about the way that you fuel your voice and how we actually need to change the way that we fuel it for higher notes and also adding more power. It feels different in the body. The intention is different. And the other piece of this puzzle is how we shape the vocal tract, so vowel shaping or vowel modification. We always think, oh, we've got to keep everything the same so that it comes out the same, but actually making intentional tiny adjustments can mean that the color is more consistent and it feels more solid and stable. It also might feel like it's resonating more in the same space. So I'm going to attempt to do demonstrations here. They're not going to be perfect, but all I want is to give you some insight into this so that you can start to hear for yourself. Maybe you see difficulties reflected in what I'm doing, in the before and the after, so that you know that there is hope. There is hope to change it. There is hope to get it more consistent, but it's about learning the right things in the right way. So I'm going to do both. I'm going to blend from my chest voice to my head voice and do the same, but keep it more chest dominant or more belty. And I'm going to do it before and after. So I'm going to keep everything the same. I'm not going to change anything about the way that I use my support. I'm not going to change anything about the way that I shape my vowels. And you can hear what happens when we do that, when we just keep it consistent and keep our fingers crossed. And then I'm going to make some intentional changes about the way I sing it. So fingers crossed. As I said, not going to be perfect, but I'm just here to demonstrate. So going into head voice first, keeping everything the same, keeping everything consistent. Very weak up top, very breathy, very unstable. I didn't think that I could trust that note whatsoever. Let's make some changes. Can you hear the difference? Much fuller, cleaner, easier for me. I could trust it. It was projecting. And that was with making adjustments. It sounded more consistent, right? Okay, here's the big one. So from my chest voice to the top of my belting range. And again, this feels different than delivering it in head voice. I make different changes. It feels different in my body. Okay, here's without any changes, just praying for the best. Did not feel good. It didn't sound good. Definitely not my best work. It felt very tight and tickly and scratchy in my throat. Again, shaky. My poor little vocal cords are like, please don't do that to me again. And it wasn't projecting. It was getting very stuck inside my mouth, right? So let's add some changes. So much easier, so much more solid, and I hope that it sounds like the same voice across the board. So as I said, this is not meant to be the perfect demonstration, but I hope that what you're struggling with in terms of consistency in your own voice, you see reflected back in those demonstrations. I don't want you just to be thinking that it's one size fits all, that it should all feel the same. Especially not when you're trying to go higher and add power. It's so different than the way that I would approach those lower, easier notes in my chest voice. So if this is you, if you have just been crossing your fingers and hoping for the best, please know that there is hope. There is a shining light, and it's learning more about how you need to flux in terms of your breath support and in terms of your vowel modification, so that everything feels more solid, more stable, and you can trust it, because singing is all about being able to trust it so that you can express yourself. Technique is really a gateway. It's to make it feel more solid and grounded so that you can then just let loose, right? Feel the emotion. So I hope that this was helpful. If it was, please leave a comment below. If you've got any questions, there is where to put them as well. If you think that somebody else would benefit from this, please share it around and take really good care of yourself. Until I see you again.